Nobody's saying it out loud, but in the shadows of louder headlines, the Indianapolis Colts might just be the NFL's most unpredictable team heading into 2025. After years of instability, cycling through quarterbacks, battling injury setbacks, and navigating one rebuild after another, the Colts have finally constructed a roster with real bite. And yet, for all the promise and potential, the biggest story might be this: no one really knows who's going to win these position battles. From quarterback to cornerback, this training camp is less about refining a scheme and more about survival. Every rep matters. Every mistake could cost someone their shot. The Colts have quietly executed one of the most complete offseasons in the league. They injected speed into the offense, turned over key spots on defense, and fostered genuine competition across nearly every position group. For the first time in years, Indianapolis isn't just trying to be relevant, they're trying to be dangerous. What makes this more compelling is the pressure simmering beneath the surface. This isn't your typical preseason tune-up. For many players, it's the beginning or end of something major. While national headlines obsess over contract drama in Dallas or Patrick Mahomes' next target in Kansas City, Indianapolis is building something less flashy but far more volatile. It starts with the offense, an area that appears polished at first glance. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Anthony Richardson, on paper, it looks stable. But behind that front line of stars lies organized chaos. Camp battles are already heating up, and the fight for roles behind the top names may define this season more than anyone realizes. Let's begin where things get most uncertain: the wide receiver room. It's as deep as it's been in a decade, and perhaps more competitive than ever. Rookie A.D. Mitchell has wasted no time making his presence felt. The Texas product isn't just showing up in highlight reels, he's creating real separation in meaningful reps. Meanwhile, Alec Pierce enters a contract year knowing he must finally deliver the consistency expected of a second-round pick. Josh Downs and Ashton Dulin aren't spectators either. Both are clawing for every inch of field time. These aren't just routine camp reps, these are battles over chemistry, trust, and timing with whoever wins the quarterback job. A single misstep, a drop ball, or a mistimed route could be the difference between starting in week 1 or sitting behind a rising rookie. And speaking of uncertainty, nowhere is the gamble more pronounced than along the offensive line. This is where things could either quietly click or implode. At center, second-year player Tanner Bortolini is poised to replace the long-standing veteran Ryan Kelly. It's a bold move, one that places enormous responsibility on a player still learning the speed and complexity of NFL fronts. Over at right guard, Emili Kior Jr. might sneak into a starting job if his camp continues on its current trajectory. These names won't make headlines, but they're critical. One weak link here and the whole offense could unravel. Yet perhaps the most explosive battle brewing lies in the backfield, where the fight for RB2 is far more than a depth chart formality. This isn't a case of two journeymen vying for mop-up duty. This decision could determine who carries the team in the event that Jonathan Taylor misses time again. And history tells us that's not an unlikely scenario. Enter DJ Giddens. The rookie out of Kansas State wasn't drafted to merely round out the rotation. He's a 1,000-yard rusher with ideal traits for the league: powerful, patient, and smart. If he acclimates quickly, there's a real chance he carves out a major role sooner than expected. Giddens already fits the identity that Shane Steichen wants to shape: downhill, physical, and relentless. He's the kind of back that doesn't wait for holes to open. He makes defenders pay for even trying. But standing in his way is Khalil Herbert, who brings NFL experience and glimpses of high-end production from his time in Chicago. Herbert's acceleration and lateral quickness made him dangerous in open space, particularly in outside zone schemes. Yet last season, his touches and efficiency dipped noticeably. The Colts brought him in for stability, hoping he could become a reliable second option. But so far in camp, it's Giddens, not Herbert, who's drawing eyes and praise. The competition is close, but the upside may not be. There's urgency here for a reason. Jonathan Taylor's injury history isn't just unfortunate, it's becoming a pattern. The Colts can't afford a slow start if he goes down again. They'll need a replacement ready to carry the load without hesitation. And that's exactly why this RB2 battle is so high stakes. One misstep or hesitation could end the competition before it begins. Whoever gets the nod behind Taylor isn't just a backup. They're potentially the heartbeat of the offense by mid-season. Still, while fans and analysts debate who should line up behind the quarterback, there's another position group that might be on even shakier ground. And it's one the average fan rarely notices until disaster strikes. The battle for swing tackle isn't some quiet afterthought. It could define the Colts season if either starting tackle goes down. Bernhard Raimann and Braden Smith have both struggled with injuries in recent years, and this offensive line doesn't have the luxury of depth for long. That brings us to two very different players chasing one high-stakes job. Blake Freeland, now in his third season, comes in with valuable experience, but that experience is a double-edged sword. He's been on the field, yes, but far too often the results have been shaky. Poor technique, missed blocks, and inconsistent footwork have made it difficult for coaches to fully trust him. This training camp might be his final audition. Improvement isn't optional, it's required. Then there's the wild card, rookie Jalen Travis. Drafted in the middle rounds, he's a physical specimen, massive, powerful, and built like a prototype for the position. But raw tools don't always translate, especially not immediately. Travis is still adjusting to the speed and complexity of NFL defenses. The potential is real, but this isn't college anymore. There's no grace period when you're protecting the quarterback from elite edge rushers. The reality is, if either Ryman or Smith goes down, the swing tackle becomes a starting tackle. That's not a depth role anymore. It's a pressure role with zero margin for error. And so the question becomes, do you trust experience that hasn't evolved? Or upside that isn't ready? The defense isn't immune from these dilemmas either, especially at cornerback. While Charvarius Ward was brought in to shut down opposing wide receiver ones, the other outside corner spot is anything but settled. In fact, it might be the most quietly contested position battle in camp. 4 names, 1 job. Jalen Jones enters as the presumed frontrunner. He started multiple games last season and showed flashes of competence in tough matchups. But confidence isn't comfort, and he's not locked in yet. Justin Wally, the rookie out of Ole Miss, has emerged as the biggest threat. A surprise third-round pick, Wally has quickly drawn praise from coaches and veterans alike. His instincts are sharp, his timing is advanced for a rookie, and he carries himself with a quiet edge that teammates rally around. He's not just chasing a role, he's challenging expectations. Still, the room is deeper than most realize. Julius Brents, a former second-rounder, brings rare size and reach. On his best days, he looks like a starter. But the issue with Brents isn't talent, it's health. Injuries have slowed his development and made availability a real concern. Then there's Samuel Womack. He might not turn heads in practice, but his consistency makes him valuable. Every unit needs a dependable presence, and Womack's reliability gives him a puncher's chance if others falter. The truth is, none of these roles are safe. One bad preseason game from Jones could open the door. One missed assignment from Wally could stall his rise. Coaches aren't making decisions based on upside or resume. They're watching every rep, every breakdown, every flash of brilliance. The pads are on, and the margin for error has vanished. Further upfield, the edge rush rotation has quietly become one of the team's most fascinating elements. While the Colts don't have a superstar pass rusher in the mold of a Myles Garrett or B.A. Bosa, they've built something more unique, a defensive line that attacks in waves. And if used properly, it could break games open. Latu Latu and Kwity Paye are expected to lead the unit, but the names behind them matter more than people think. Rookie JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State was drafted to make an impact, not sit and watch. His early reps and run drills have been dominant, showcasing violent hands and natural leverage. If he acclimates to the speed of the league quickly, he could become a go-to on early downs, especially when the Colts want to clamp down the run game. Then there's Samson Ebukam, the veteran presence coming off an Achilles injury. At his peak, he was the team's most reliable pass-rushing threat. But injuries don't follow schedules, and there's no guarantee he'll be ready by week 1. That leaves a gap, one that Tyquan Lewis might have to fill. Lewis has long been one of the Colts' most underrated defenders. He's not flashy, but he's disruptive, consistent, and quietly efficient. If Ebukam isn't ready, Lewis becomes the glue holding the rotation together. It all circles back to one looming decision that could define the season: the quarterback. Anthony Richardson has the raw talent and sky-high ceiling, but he remains unproven. His flashes of brilliance are matched by stretches of inexperience. On the other side is the steady hand of Gardner Minshew, a veteran who knows the playbook, understands situational football, and can manage games. But managing may not be enough in a league that demands explosive plays. So, Colts fans, it's your move. Do you ride with the future and risk the volatility, or lean on experience and risk mediocrity? This team has waited years to find the right balance of talent and toughness, and in 2025, everything may finally come together or fall apart, depending on the choices made this August. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which camp battle are you watching closest, and who do you trust to lead this team when it matters most?